Imagine swimming through a peaceful river. Suddenly, something moves beneath the surface. It's not a shark. It's not a crocodile. It's a fish, but not an ordinary one. Some fish can climb waterfalls. Some shoot insects out of the air with incredible precision. Others survive in water so cold it should freeze their bodies solid. One can generate enough electricity to stun a horse. Another walks on land, as if evolution forgot it was supposed to stay underwater. These sound like superpowers invented for comic books. But every one of them is completely real. Today, we're counting down 10 fish with abilities so extraordinary, they push the limits of what we thought a fish could do. Let's dive in. The fish that climbs waterfalls. Common name, climbing perch. Scientific name. Most fish panic when their pond begins to dry. The climbing perch simply leaves. This remarkable species doesn't wait for rain. Instead, it begins an incredible journey across land. Using its powerful gill covers and muscular fins, it drags itself over mud, grass, and even rough ground in search of a new home. It can survive outside the water for many hours because of a specialized breathing organ called the labyrinth organ, which allows it to breathe atmospheric oxygen. But perhaps its most astonishing feat is climbing. In parts of Southeast Asia, these fish have been seen scaling slippery rocks, roots, and small waterfalls that seem impossible for a fish to conquer. For predators waiting below, the waterfall acts like a natural barrier. For the climbing perch, it's simply another path. Scientists believe this unusual behavior has helped the species colonize isolated lakes and ponds that many other fish could never reach. Imagine watching a fish disappear into the forest after a storm. It sounds impossible. Yet for the climbing perch, walking away is sometimes the survival strategy. The fish that shoots down its prey. Common name, archerfish. Scientific name. Picture standing beneath a tree. An insect lands quietly on a leaf. Without warnings, a tiny jet of water strikes it with sniper-like precision. The shooter isn't hidden in the branches. It's waiting below the surface. The archerfish has evolved one of nature's most accurate hunting techniques. By shaping its mouth into a narrow tube and pressing its tongue against a groove in the roof of its mouth, it creates a powerful stream of water capable of knocking insects several feet above the water. The truly incredible part isn't the shot. It's the aim. Light bends when it passes from air into water, making objects appear in a different position than they really are. Yet the archerfish instinctively compensates for this optical distortion. It performs complex corrections that would challenge a human with no scientific training. Young fish must practice before mastering this skill. Adults rarely miss. Some can hit insects nearly 2 meters away. The moment the prey falls, the race begins. Other fish rush toward the splash. So the archerfish often predicts exactly where the insect will land before anyone else can react. It's not just an excellent marksman. It's also an expert strategist. The fish that walks on the ocean floor. A common name, red-lipped batfish. Scientific name. At first glance, this creature barely looks like a fish. Its flattened body rests on its bright red lips make it appear permanently made up. And instead of swimming gracefully through the ocean, it walks. The red-lipped batfish has transformed its fins into sturdy limbs that allow it to crawl slowly across volcanic seabeds around the islands. Swimming is actually one of its weakest abilities. Walking is far more efficient. Remaining close to the bottom helps it stay hidden from predators while searching patiently for small fish, crustaceans, and worms. But this bizarre animal has another secret. On top of its head is a small modified dorsal spine called an. This acts like a fishing rod. At its tip sits a fleshy lure that wiggles just enough to attract curious prey. Instead of chasing food, the batfish lets dinner come to it. It's an ambush hunter built for patience rather than speed. Everything about its appearance seems strange. Its oversized head, its peculiar lips, its awkward movements. Yet every unusual feature is perfectly adapted to one of the most unique hunting lifestyles found anywhere in the ocean. And this is only the beginning. The next fish doesn't just hunt. It generates one of the most powerful biological weapons on Earth. The fish that generates electricity. Common name, electric eel. Scientific name, electrophorus. Imagine stepping into a river. The water is calm. The surface barely moves. Then, without warning, an invisible bolt of electricity surges through the water. You never saw the attacker, but it already knows exactly where you are. Despite its name, the electric eel isn't actually an eel. And it possesses one of the most extraordinary biological weapons ever evolved. More than 80% of its body is made up of specialized electric organs containing thousands of electrocytes, tiny biological batteries that fire simultaneously. When they discharge together, they can generate up to 860 volts. That's enough to stun large prey, drive away predators, and even knock an adult human off balance. But raw power is only half the story. The electric eel also uses weak electrical pulses like a living radar. Every nearby animal slightly disturbs the electric field around it. Those tiny distortions reveal the exact location, size, and movement of prey, even in water so muddy that visibility is almost zero. Researchers have even observed electric eels leaping partly out of the water to press their bodies directly against a threat. By reducing the distance, they deliver an even stronger electric shock. It's a tactic that seems almost calculated. Instead of relying on teeth, venom, or speed, this fish turns its own body into a living power station. In the dark rivers of the Amazon, lightning doesn't always come from the sky. Sometimes, it swims beneath your feet. The fish that changes sex. Common name, bluehead wrasse. Scientific name, On a Caribbean coral reef, a single disappearance can transform an entire society. The dominant male vanishes. Within hours, one female begins to change. Her behavior shifts first. She becomes more aggressive. She starts defending territory. Then her body follows. Her colors intensify. Her reproductive organs reorganize. Within days, she has become a functional male. The bluehead wrasse possesses one of the most astonishing abilities in the animal kingdom: sequential hermaphroditism. Instead of being permanently male or female, this fish can completely change sex when the social balance of the group demands it. The transformation is orchestrated by dramatic hormonal changes that switch entire genetic pathways on and off. It's not an illusion. It's not temporary. It's a complete biological transition. This remarkable flexibility ensures that the reef always has a breeding male, maximizing the group's chances of survival. For humans, changing sex requires complex medical intervention. For the bluehead wrasse, it's simply another adaptation shaped by millions of years of evolution. Nature isn't always fixed. Sometimes, it's astonishingly flexible. The fish that refuses to freeze. Common name: Antarctic blackfin icefish. Scientific name: the Southern Ocean is one of the most hostile places on Earth. Winter temperatures fall below the normal freezing point of blood. For most fish, that would be a death sentence. Ice crystals would spread through their bodies, destroying cells from the inside. Yet the Antarctic blackfin icefish swims through these frozen waters as if nothing is wrong. Its secret lies in an extraordinary biochemical defense. Its blood contains specialized antifreeze glycoproteins. These remarkable molecules bind to microscopic ice crystals before they can grow, preventing the fish's body from freezing solid. It's like carrying millions of invisible bodyguards that stop ice before it becomes lethal. Even more astonishing, icefish have evolved with extremely low concentrations of red blood cells, reducing the thickness of their blood and helping it circulate efficiently in freezing temperatures. Combined with oversized hearts and highly efficient oxygen uptake, these adaptations allow them to thrive where almost no other vertebrates can survive. In a world where cold kills, this fish has rewritten the rules of life, and the abilities ahead become even stranger. Because the next fish doesn't need sunlight to hunt. It creates its own. The fish that hunts with light. Common name: Pacific. Scientific name: 2,000 meters below the ocean's surface. Sunlight no longer exists. The darkness is absolute. In this endless black void, speed means little. Vision is almost useless. So how do you find your next meal? The Pacific solved that problem millions of years ago. Extending from its forehead is a modified dorsal spine ending in a glowing organ filled with bioluminescent bacteria. It looks like a tiny floating light. Small fish, shrimp, and squid mistake it for food. or simply become curious enough to investigate. As they drift closer, the barely moves. Then, in a fraction of a second, its enormous jaws explode forward. Its mouth opens so wide that it can swallow prey nearly as large as itself. Long, needle-like teeth curve inward, making escape almost impossible. Every flash of light is a deadly trap. In a place where energy is precious and food may appear only once every several days, chasing prey would waste valuable calories. Instead, lets curiosity do the hunting. Down in the deep sea, the brightest light often belongs to the deadliest predator. The fish with transparent blood. Common name, crocodile icefish. Scientific name, family. If a doctor took a blood sample from almost any vertebrate on Earth, it would be red. The color comes from hemoglobin, the protein inside red blood cells that transports oxygen throughout the body. But the crocodile icefish broke one of biology's oldest rules. Its blood is almost completely transparent. It has no functional hemoglobin. And in most species, that would be fatal. Yet this fish survives because Antarctica provides the perfect conditions. The freezing water contains unusually high levels of dissolved oxygen. Instead of relying on red blood cells, oxygen diffuses directly into its plasma and is pumped around the body by an unusually large heart through oversized blood vessels. Its blood flows more easily because it's less viscous, allowing circulation despite carrying far less oxygen per volume. It's an evolutionary gamble that only works in one of the coldest environments on Earth. Move this fish into warmer waters, and its remarkable adaptation quickly becomes a fatal weakness. Sometimes evolution doesn't make an animal stronger everywhere. It makes it perfectly suited to one extraordinary place. The fish that walks on land. Common name, mudskipper. Scientific name. At low tide, the water disappears. For most fish, that's the end. For the mudskipper, it's the beginning of the day. Across muddy mangroves and tidal flats, hundreds of these fish hop, climb, chase rivals, and search for food completely out of the water. They breathe by keeping their skin and the lining of their mouths moist, while enlarged gill chambers store water that allows their gills to continue functioning for extended periods. Their muscular pectoral fins work almost like legs, launching them across mud with surprising speed. Some species even climb roots, rocks, and low branches to escape predators or defend territory. Their eyes sit high on top of their heads, rotating independently to scan nearly 360 degrees of their surroundings. They blink. They interact. They establish territories. Watching a colony of mudskippers feels less like observing fish, and more like witnessing the first steps of vertebrates onto land hundreds of millions of years ago. They offer scientists a living window into one of evolution's greatest transitions. From water to land. And yet, even this incredible survivor isn't our number one. because the final fish possesses a hidden sense that humans can barely imagine. The fish that sees electricity, common name, fish, scientific name. Imagine closing your eyes. Now imagine entering complete darkness, where sight becomes completely useless. No light, no shadows, no colors. How would you find your way? The fish doesn't need vision. It creates its own invisible map of the world. Hidden near its tail is a specialized electric organ that constantly emits weak electrical pulses into the surrounding water. These pulses are harmless, but when they encounter a rock, a plant, another fish, or even the smallest insect larva, they bend. Thousands of tiny receptors covering the fish's body detect those distortions instantly. Its brain transforms them into a detailed, three-dimensional image of everything nearby. In a sense, the fish can see without using its eyes. This remarkable ability is known as active. It allows the fish to navigate muddy rivers, avoid obstacles, recognize members of its own species, locate prey hidden beneath the sand, and even communicate through unique electrical signals. Its brain is astonishingly large for a fish, with a significant portion devoted entirely to processing this invisible electrical information. Scientists continue studying its nervous system because its sensory processing is among the most sophisticated ever discovered in aquatic animals. To us, the river appears silent and dark. To the fish, it's alive with invisible shapes, moving electrical signatures, and constant streams of information. It doesn't simply live in a different environment. It experiences an entirely different reality. Perhaps the greatest superpower isn't being the strongest. It's sensing a world that no one else can perceive. From fish that climb waterfalls, to living power stations, to hunters carrying their own lights into the deepest darkness. The underwater world is far stranger than science fiction. Every one of these incredible abilities evolved through millions of years of natural selection, proving that nature can create solutions more imaginative than anything humans have ever invented. And despite everything we've discovered, the oceans still hide countless mysteries waiting to be revealed. So which of these fish surprised you the most? Tell us your favorite in the comments below. If you enjoyed discovering these real superpowers, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and join us for the next episode of Real Superpowers, where we'll uncover even more extraordinary animals with abilities that seem impossible, but are completely real.